today?
I'm doing very fine, thank you. Tell me about yourself.
Very well, thank you. And thank you for hosting me as always. I think we say the same thing. That we're here every Wednesday from 10:30 to 11 and hope to answer your questions. Whatever you have, please bring it on so that we can take your questions live on the air. If you keep your questions brief, I can quickly give more answers. But and also this is a time where we just have a small snapshot of your situation, and generic answers are better given. However, if you need any more detail, you're welcome to come into the office and speak to me. This is the time that I'm available for you, however, for this community to answer any questions that you may have. So, Meetu, just wanted to tell all our listeners, we have, especially this is continuing with our H-1B cap update, and the government had finished processing all the receipts by April 11th. We had heard that, and at this point, receipts have started to trickle in. So we're seeing some receipts that have arrived for us all of last week and even for the last couple of days. So tell everyone, we want to tell everyone to watch out and look at the employers. So before you get the receipt, the check will be deposited. So the filing fee checks to the government. If you can just look at the bank deposit for the employer, you'll be able to see a receipt number at the back, and that is great news if that happens. And that's one update. And the other one that I wanted to say, I am seeing an increased rate of requests for evidence as well as denials for students who had applied for their OPTs. There's some of these issues that are happening because of USCIS or some officers not understanding what needs to be done. And there's some things that are happening because students that are applying for that EAD don't understand a few things. So it's a concern because a lot of students come at the last minute and they now are out of status. They either have to go back to school, give up on their STEM OPTs or even their first OPTs, and either leave the country or take a new I-20, leave the country, re-enter, or file for a reinstatement. It's very important that you understand how to do your EAD. Does seem like a simple form, but I think the complications come from the other related issues, whether 983 was properly done or not, if this was a STEM OPT. So this is, telling everyone out there to just be careful because that's what we're seeing. And we filed a record number of MTRs recently, which is motions to reopen, reconsider, once a student who had filed for his case himself came back to us saying that they had a denial. So just be aware of this and watch out for what the government is doing, because you may also catch an incompetent officer on the other end, and that would just be a bad combination. Now, we're also seeing a lot of people that got caught in the trap of the fee change, which happened on the 23rd of December. Incorrect fees were submitted, either less fees or too much fees, and then there is literally a ping pong going on with the officer till when the student has lost time to be able to get the benefit of the EAD. So careful out there, folks. That's something that is a trigger at this point for denials and getting students out of status.
Well, thank you. A lot of useful information there for our listeners. And should we start taking calls now, Pallavi?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Once again, 972-235-5555 is the number in the studio. This is Your Business Matters with Pallavi Ahluwalia from Ahluwalia Law Offices. All right, you're live on air. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, hi. My name is Yogesh, and this is regarding my H-1B visa. So my visa is expiring in the month of September, and I have approved labor, and my company is planning to file my I-140 as well. So if I file my I-140 in premium processing, and if I get the result in let's say 15 days, will that guarantee me H-1B extension?
Yes, absolutely. An I-140 approval would get you 3 more years on your H-1B if you're running out of your 6 years.
Okay.
If you're running out of your 6 years, so guarantee.
So I just said 3 years right now.
Yeah, so let's talk about one more thing on the guarantee, however, and that is that the H-1B in itself has to justify the length of employment. So if you are, with a third-party vendor that has, and you're located at a third-party site, correct, then you have a shorter contract, and that would limit the length of your H-1B. However, if that's not an issue and you're employed with the end user of your services, then getting 3 years is not a problem. Then that is a guarantee.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your call. 972-235-5555 is the number in the studio. Going on to our next caller. On Asia Radio, you're live on the air. Go ahead and ask your question to Pallavi.
Hi, good morning. My name is Bashir, and I have a question. I applied my citizenship last year in July, and I still haven't heard anything yet after my fingerprints. Do you know the procedure? Is it Dallas office, the field offices?
Yes, we've heard about an extreme slowdown on the naturalization process. At this point, they are doing background checks. They're being very, very sure. Don't be surprised if you have any of the federal agencies that show up to even ask you some questions. We've heard those reports as well. But at this point, if you haven't heard from the government, that's nothing wrong. You have not gotten an interview letter yet, right?
No. It's been almost about 8 months now for fingerprints. I still haven't heard anything.
And it can be anywhere from 8 to 10 months. You can do an inquiry with InfoPass, of course, and see if they have an update for you. However, we are seeing a slowdown in the overall process currently.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you
all the best
for your call, and do want to request all the callers to turn off their radio once they are on air. Make sure that your radio is turned off before you ask your question. Going on to our next caller, Phanisha Radio, you are live on the air. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Yeah, hi, this is Nitesh, and I have a quick question regarding the extension of stay for my mother who was visiting us. So she came to US this last year, November 18th, and then we had a short vacation in Bahamas for 4 days. So she re-entered US on December 14th. So my question to you is, on the I-94 which we generated online, it says that she can stay here till June 13th, whatever that 180 days becomes. However, hello?
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, sorry. And however, the passport stamp, which was stamped when she entered in November, says she can stay here till May 14th or 15th or whatever. Now, she was supposed to go back to India next week. However, due to an unfortunate circumstances, she fell and she broke her hip, and she's hospitalized right now. So we have to apply for the extension of her visa so that her medical issues and health can be taken care of. So my question to you first is.
Go ahead.
So my first question to you is which date is valid, whether it's going to be June or whether it's going to be May for her to stay here, and then I have another question regarding the filling of the forms.
Sure.
Can I go ahead with that question too?
Yeah, let's resolve this question. So the I-94 dictates the length of the time that she has. So what I'm curious about is, at that point when she entered, why was the passport not stamped again? Did the officer not stamp it at that point again?
No, he did, but he did not put any date on that stamp. So he did stamp it. It says B2, but he did not. He left the date as a blank date there when she entered from the Bahamas.
Okay, but the I-94 online does show the end date has been June, correct?
Yes.
So you would go with that date on your form.
Okay, so that's good. Then the other thing is, I'm actually here on the H1, and my previous H1 was valid, or I should say my visa stamping was valid till this year, 25th of 17. And when I also entered from the Bahamas, my visa at that point of time said 25th February 2017, and that's what they're on my if I go to the online I-94 site, and that's what they say the date is. However, before the February, my visa was extended, and I have the approval notice for I-797, but I haven't left the country after that, so I don't have a new visa stamp. So my question to you is, when I'm filling the I-134, which I-94 number should I use? Should I use the I-94 number?
The last action of the government is your extension, and that's what you would use.
So I would use the I-94 number on that form.
Yes, uses the last action rule, and your last action in this case was the extension filed by your company for you for the H-1B, and that's your the end date that you have to write. The visa does not matter in this case. Neither does the I-94, because after your entry into the country, you extend it.
Okay, and then I have a follow-up question on the same thing as well. So this was for my extension. However, there was also an amendment for my I-97, which just got approved like few days back. However, on that, the I-94 number is the same number which was from my previous H-1. So, and if I use that I-94 number, that's the same number which comes online that says I was only supposed to get April 25th. So I'm a little confused with that. I don't know how that thing happened.
Yeah, so the I-94 will not change. The I-94 is the I-94 that you were given when you came into the country from Bahamas. That was your I-94. Okay? It got extended once, then it got amended once. Right? But the I-94 does not change, because that number is given to anybody that steps in and out of the country and then uses it for status changes or any purpose. So that I-94 remains with you till you leave the country and re-enter again, and then you'll have a new I-94.
So that's where I'm a little confused, right? So let's say my I-94 was 1, 2, 3 when I entered from Bahamas, right? And then when I got the extension, now the I-94 on that approval notice is, let's say, 2, 3, 4. And then when it got amended again, it's again back to 123.
So it's back to 123 because the attorney that used your 797 probably used the older 797 to do the amendment. So you may want to have this checked. You would have to check this a little better, because if there is a change in that number, then it was some other H-1B that was used when they filed for an amendment as opposed to the extension.
Okay, so it could be because of the backlog, because when they applied it was like last year, but it just got to this time, so it could be because of that time that was
the amendment that was previously filed. Yes. So if the amendment was previously filed and it came in through right now, yes, that could be from the past. There is a few ways to fix it, and one would be for you to step in and out. But if you have to get everything checked, then I would request an appointment, or have it shown to your company attorney to see where the error arose. All right?
All right. Thank you so much for your call. And once again, do want to request all our callers here to keep their question really brief, so that we can give chance to all the callers who are trying to reach Pallavi at this point of time. And Pallavi is here for a very, very brief time, and many people try to reach her out at this time. If you have lengthier questions or more concerns, you get in touch with her through the website aluvalialaw.com, or you can call their front desk manager for appointment. 972-361-0606 is the number. Going to our next caller on Asia Radio. You're live on the air. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hi, I'm currently on H-1B, and my question is regarding the H-480. My husband's H-480 got approved, but I want to understand if I have to move to H-480, will I have to get out of the H-1B status? Will there be a disruption in my ability to work?
So is your husband on an H-1B for you to get into the H-480?
Yes, my husband is on H-1B.
So I thought that he was on an H-480. Maybe I misunderstood. All right. So he's on an H-1B, and you're also on an H-1B, and at this point you're filing for an H-480. File both of them concurrently and see how long they take to get approved. If your 539 gets approved before your EAD gets approved, then yes, during that time that the EAD is not approved, you cannot work.
Oh, so it will be done together, is it, when they apply?
You should file it concurrently, yes, together.
Okay, but if one comes before, then I'll have a disruption in my work.
Yeah, so the only one that is able to come before is the 539, the change of status. That is the only one able. The EAD cannot come separately. The EAD will follow the 539, or it will come together with the 539.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. Going on to our next caller. Once again, this is Your Business Matters with Pallavi Ahluwalia from Ahluwalia Law Offices. Yes, you are live on air. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hi, my husband is on H-1B with employer A, and I'm trying to move, and he has already completed his I-140. It's been 8 months. I'm trying to move to H-4EAD. What happens if we move to employer B right now? Does he have to do all his projects again? And what is my situation in between? Yeah, so your I-140 for your husband should be open at the time that you apply for your H-4EAD. That is a requirement. Now, the other question, the first one that you asked, whether he has to do his process again, yes, he has to, but he can retain his priority date because it's more than 180 days since that I-140 was approved. So because of that, he will preserve the priority date. He will also be able to use that I-140 even if employer 1 withdraws it at this point. He can still use it for his extensions on the H-1B when he goes past his 6 years. But for you to use it for an H-4EAD, you need that I-140 to be open. Because when the government checks, there should be an approved I-140. Yeah, he already has his I-140, right? When he transfers. When he transfers to employer B and employer A withdraws his I-140, then he won't have an I-140 that's approved. And also for him to use the benefit of filing a 485, employer B still has to file the perm and the I-140. Get the same priority date as the one before, but still they have to go through the process. Okay, till then I will not be eligible to be working. Well, let's restate this. You are eligible to work as long as that I-140 remains open. Okay. But if employer A does not withdraw it, you can use it to work for your H-4EAD. Alright? Okay. All the best.
Thank you for your call. 972-235-5555 number in the studio. Going on to our next caller. On Asia Radio, you're live on the air. Please ask your question to Pallavi.
Hi, Pallavi. Thank you for taking my call. Well, I'm on H-4EAD right now. I'm a pharmacist working for my employer on H-4EAD card, but I have a previous employer who filed for my H-1B, which is valid till September of 2017. I wanted to find out, I heard in one of your earlier calls that if you have a valid H-1B visa, and if it's because of this President Trump's H-4EAD in question right now. Hello? Yes, go ahead. So if my H-4EAD gets in jeopardy, and if I want to get on H-1B, I can go back on any time on H-1 and just apply an amendment regarding different employer. And as soon as I apply for an H-1, I can continue working for my current employer. Is that right? Yeah, so there is a rule that allows, if you were a holder of a previous H status, it allows you to start working immediately, and that does not differentiate between whether you are an H4 or an H1B. Alright? So basically, yes, by the filing, you can make use of that, but the only condition is that H1B must be approved. If it's not approved, then it starts to get you out of status. Right? So the point I'm trying to make is that it must be an approvable case, and it should get approved. Okay, that makes sense. So as long as if I apply for an H-1B, while currently I'm on H-4EAD because it's still valid, and if in the meantime when it's not...
I think we lost that call. Pallavi, are you on?
I think we'd answered her question. There wasn't a thought that was completed by the last one, so we're good. Let's go on to the next one.
Okay, let's do that. So you're live on the air. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, Pallavi, I just wanted to know, I applied for my son for petition I-130, and how is the process time going on? Like, would be still on the time, or it's going to a slow process because of the changes in the immigration laws?
So who have you applied for, ma'am?
For my son, he's 18, from India. I'm citizen, and I applied for his petition I-130.
Okay, so the processing time, yes. For somebody, so that should be a current category. That's son or daughter of a U.S. citizen who is under the age of 21. So that is the current category. No, there have not been any changes in the law, and I want that to be clarified to everyone out there. There has been a lot of talk about immigration, but there have not been any changes yet. So there's a slowing down because the government is trying to make sure that everyone that gets the visa that they're applying for, whether it's an immigrant visa or a non-immigrant one, are actually qualified for it. But there have not been any changes yet. So the processing time for a U.S. citizen's child who's under the age of 21 he should be able to come in within a year. The I-130 should take about 5-6 months, and then the NVC process will start. Thank you. I appreciate Pallavi.
All right, thank you so much, Pallavi. We just have a minute's time left on the clock before we wind up the show. So this is for our listener. You have to be really, really quick. Just a minute's time left. Go ahead.
Hi, ma'am. This is Mohammed.
Yeah, hi, Mohammed.
मैम मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है, मैं पाकिस्तान से हूँ. मैंने अपनी फैमिली के साथ असाइलम फाइल किया 2015 फरवरी के अंदर.
ओके.
तो कितना वेट लगता है, कितना ऑलमोस्ट लोग इंटरव्यू के लिए कॉल करने में कितना टाइम लगाते हैं लोग?
डिपेंड कर रहा है इस टाइम पे. अप टू 2 years लग सकते हैं. आपका EAD आ गया कि नहीं आ गया?
EAD तो मैं 2 ले चुका हूँ आफ्टर सबमिशन.
हाँ, तो बस वही है कि जब तक वो ऑफिसर के पास नहीं जाता है और पेंड कर रहा है, तो उस टाइम तक आपके पास वैलिड EADs होने चाहिए. बाकी तो उनका प्रोसेसिंग टाइम है, 2-3 साल लग सकते हैं आराम से आपको.
All right, perfect. That's our last caller there, Pallavi. Thank you so much for doing this for our community as always. Any final words?
My pleasure. My pleasure. I look forward to being back here every time. And this is just an FYI to everyone. But we do have a question answer ability even on our website, but we really request generic quick questions so that we can answer. If it is getting us the entire case details, I cannot proceed without having looked at those documents. And then we don't want to put in personal details or anything that are available for everybody else to see on our website. For those consults are requested that go through my front desk, and those are paid appointments. The ones on the website and on this call, we request you to just keep them short, and I would be so happy to answer them.
Excellent. And look forward to talking to you next time, Pallavi.
Thank you much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This has been your